Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm finally filming my breast augmentation story slash Q&A. I know I've been saying I want to film this for a while, but I honestly couldn't find my breast implant ID cards, which state exactly how many cc's I have in each breast. Because I know how important it is to know exactly the cc's, my size, and everything like that, because I know that that's the one thing I was looking for the most when I was making that decision. So hopefully this helps you guys. This is something that you guys are considering, or if you guys are just curious. And if there's anything that I forget or anything that you guys are still curious about, please feel free to comment below and I will answer any questions. So I'm pretty much just gonna go ahead and tell you guys kind of my experience, my story, from my consultation to my recovery. Then I'll answer whatever questions were sent in that I missed throughout the story. But basically, I always wanted to have a little bit more volume. It's kind of the only really big insecurity I had. And then especially when I got really into working out, it's like I was trying so hard to look and feel good. And the more I would try, the more I would lose my boobs, because obviously when you're losing weight, for me, that's like the first thing that always goes. Training so hard so I could look good and feel good. And this is when I'm the most insecure. Like, I did not wear a swimsuit that entire summer. I knew this was something that I had wanted to do for a while, but I was just, one, really afraid, and I don't know, I just kept avoiding it by like doing all these little hacks and things, which, I mean, hey, they got me by for a while, but eventually it's like, okay, I'm spending so much time and energy and effort and money on all these other little things when I could just really start looking into surgery. So I did start doing my research, but like I mentioned earlier, it was so hard to find a lot of feedback on doctors out here. I live in like the suburbs of Chicago, so growing up, it's like kind of unheard of over here. Like, and people that do are super like hush hush. They don't share their information or their story, or they'll deny. And so it was really hard. All the information that I could find were from doctors like out in Miami or LA, and it was like I was already terrified of getting surgery. So to travel to get surgery, no way. Finally, I met a friend that did have breast surgery out here, and like, I loved her boobs. She showed me her other friend that got her boobs done, and I liked hers. The surgeon that I ended up going to, that my friend had referred me to, his name is Dr. Sherba, and he's in Rosemont, and the place is called Chicago Aesthetics Surgery Institute. Sorry, it's such a long name, but he was great to me. I went in for a consultation, and I met the patient coordinator, who basically explained to me the different options that they have, which are so many, and I know there's other doctors that offer even more. So it was a little bit overwhelming in regards to that, and my options were basically saline or silicone, whether I wanted high profile or moderate profile, under the muscle or above the muscle, how many cc's I wanted, and where my incision was going to be. And I think that was pretty much it. So after she kind of explained to me, and I'll kind of briefly explain to you guys as well. So the difference between saline and silicone, basically to my knowledge, is just what the implant is filled with. With saline, the implant is actually not filled when they put it in. They can fill it during surgery, so they can do a little bit of tweaking there, versus with a silicone implant, it already comes pre-filled and it's with a jelly-like substance, versus with saline, it's just a sterile water solution. Yeah, I decided to go with saline because I did have a little bit of asymmetry. I knew that he would be able to get a little bit closer to my sizing, and also because of the health concern. Saline, if it were to rupture, there isn't really any health concerns. Your body would just absorb the water solution and it is not toxic to you in any way. Versus with silicone, there's still ongoing, obviously, research about it and whatnot, but it can cause, since your body can't absorb the silicone, sometimes it doesn't even move. You can't notice that you have a leak, and all those toxins could be getting into your body. It could cause arthritis, breast cancer, different health concerns. So I was just like, you know what, let's just play it safe. So for high profile or moderate profile, basically it's just how narrow and how tall the implant is. So with low profile, it isn't as narrow, it's more flat, and it doesn't project as much, so it's not as tall. Versus with high profile, it's a little bit more narrow and it's taller, so it projects out more versus sideways more. So I guess in that sense, that kind of really does depend on your frame, your figure, and what outcome you're looking for. So that is why I definitely recommend a consultation. You can ask all these type of questions as to what fits best for you. Now for me, I am very petite. I'm only 5'1", and at the time, I can't even remember how much I weighed. I went with high profile. simply because of my frame. I am more petite, my rib cage isn't as wide, so I didn't want to do something that was going to be too wide and too flat. I preferred for it to be more narrow and tall, so that's why I went with high profile. But again, this is different if you have broader shoulders or a broader rib cage and that's something that you would like, then maybe that would be beneficial to you. But that's just what was beneficial to me. So basically the difference, to my knowledge, between subglandular and submuscular is that with subglandular, which is right above the breast muscle, under the breast tissue, it is less downtime because the muscle isn't interrupted at all. It does create more cleavage because it is above your breast muscle. Now, below the muscle, which is what I got, is more natural looking. And again, that depends on everybody's body style. If you have more breast tissue, then you could still have a very much natural looking breast implant subglandular. But for me, I did want under the muscle, and since I did go with saline, those can cause ripples as age goes on, and I didn't want those to be noticeable in the future. So for that reason, I did decide to go under the muscle. And I knew that the recovery was going to be a little bit longer, but I'll get into my recovery in a second. And for the amount of cc's that I got, oh my god, I changed my mind on my size so many times, at least twice. So when I went in for my first consultation, my patient coordinator did suggest for me to go the highest that the doctor would let me. So basically they measure you out and see what's the implant that'll fit, you know, your breast, because obviously they don't want it to, you know, spill out of your breast and look crazy, whatever, things like that. So they measured me out and they said that I believe I could go up to a 360 or 370. And so I could go as little as like 280 or something like that. So I was like, really? You think I should go the biggest? And she was like, oh yeah, for sure. You don't know how many girls we get that regret not going bigger and whatnot. So I guess I kind of did get talked into it a little bit, but whatever. I was like, fine, whatever, let's go the biggest, go bigger, go home. I don't want to regret it later and come back. But then I started kind of like looking up pictures of girls that got that amount of cc's and they were kind of my size, and I was like, man, those look kind of crazy. Like I didn't want my boobs to be like super huge. I didn't want like that porn star look. I just wanted to be a full C, small D, you know, something like that, because before surgery I was a small B and sometimes a full B. So I decided to go with, I think, whatever the highest was, and then they were still gonna overfill it a little bit because, like I mentioned, with saline, they can go over, overfill a little bit if they need to, if they see that, you know, it needs a little bit more volume, which is nice. So I was like, yeah, whatever, fuck it. But then when I went in for my pre-op, I did the measurements again, and I was like, no way, I'm gonna look so top heavy because I don't have a really big frame all around. It's like I have a big old ass to balance it out or anything. So I was like, I'm gonna look like a Wendy Williams Peabody ass bitch, and that's the last thing I need. Mind you, the time that I went in for my pre-op, when they remeasured me, I measured a little bit bigger. So then I was like, oh, I'm in the clear. But that was because I was on my period, I think, or I had maybe gained a little bit of weight. I don't remember. But for whatever reason, my breast measured a little bit bigger. So like, we can go even bigger. And I was like, no. So thank God I finally came to my senses like 2 days before surgery. And I called them and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna go that big. I don't want them that big. Like, I know you guys, that's what you guys think, but that's not the look I'm going for. So I called them and they're like, well, you're gonna have to see if we have them in stock, because if we do not, we might not be able to get them by your surgery date, and you will have to either postpone or, you know. And I was like, fuck, I was already so sad. I already asked for the days off work. So I was praying to God, and I was like, I'll just hold, like I cannot let this suspend. So they put me on hold. And like, you're in luck, we do have them. So I ended up going with 320 cc's. One did get overfilled a little bit, and again, I'll get into that in a second. So far, like I said, they gave me 5. I forgot to go back to that. So basically, I got my right breast implant is at 320 cc's, and they overfilled my left implant to 330 cc's. So they added an additional 10 cc's, simply because, again, there was a little bit of asymmetry. I went with high profile, I went with saline, I went with under the muscle, and I went with 320 cc's. And in regards to my incision, I went under the breast. My incisions are so tiny. That's another thing about saline. Since they are not pre-filled, they put in the empty implant. So the incision's tiny. I want to say my incision's maybe like an inch, maybe a little bit over an inch, and I don't scar that bad. So honestly, my incision is like barely there. And then with silicone, the incision has to be a little bit bigger because it is a pre-filled implant that they have to, like, you know, shove in there. So I decided to go under. That was just my decision. I don't know, you can go through your armpit, but since I am a bottle server, like, hello, my job is to, okay, well, you don't want to see all that. I have to, you know, walk around the club with my arms up, and I didn't want to have two big scars because I've seen it. I've seen y'all. But yeah, I mean, it's not like I deny that my boobs got done. I just didn't want the scars to be that visible versus who really sees my under the boob. And since my boobs did kind of drop down now, it covers it with my under boob cleavage. So on that note, that's why I didn't want to do under the armpit, and I didn't want to do around my nipple, and I didn't need a lift or anything. So I was like, you know what? Yep, that's fine. So that is where I got my incision. Yeah, I think that was pretty much it in regards to, you know, my consultation and the options that I had for my surgery. Now, so basically what happens when you decide, you make your payment. I know they do offer financing, so if that is a question, I ended up just paying everything in cash. You do have to pay at least 10 days, I believe, before your surgery in full. But I know they do offer financing because they did offer me it. And so I paid $4,500 for my saline implant, and that was basically all in for the entire surgery, for the implant, everything. The only other things that I had to pay for separate from that were my medications and my garment. That included follow-ups, pre-ops, everything, consultation. So at my pre-op, they gave me instructions as to what to expect. Pretty much, they gave me my prescription for my medicine, which was antibiotics, which I had to start taking, I think, like maybe a few days before, and that's just to prevent infections. And I had to take those for a few days after as well. I think it was about 10 days after, and like maybe a few days before, I can't really remember. The one thing with antibiotics after breast augmentation is that you do have refills for them, because if you're ever going to go for a dental appointment, if you're getting any piercings, tattoos, anything like that, you are more prone to infection. So you have to take antibiotics a day or two before you do any of those things or anything similar to that. Antibiotics, and then they gave me something for the nausea, because you know you can feel dizzy after surgery, nauseous, things like that. So I did get medication for nausea, and I got pain pills. I got Percocet.
Percolator. Percolator.
I want to say, and they gave me Valium for, like, you know, just to relax your muscles and things like that. And yeah, so that was pretty much what I was prescribed before. And then they told me that I needed to bring a bandeau type of bra. So I'm assuming they probably put that on me before surgery. I don't really remember, or either right after surgery and they just slip it on, because you can't move your arms after surgery. I know some doctors tell you like a zip up bra or something like that. No, my doctor, they didn't wrap me up or anything, just my incision was covered and I wore the bandeau. So yeah, basically they prepared me in regards to what I needed to get, and that was really it. My medications and my garment, and they told me that I couldn't eat past midnight the night of my surgery. And so my surgery was scheduled for March 11th, 2018, and I went in that morning, and I was more so excited. I don't think I was that nervous, which is crazy because I'm such a worrywart. So thankfully, I'm so blessed my mom and my sister both decided to take me, because Rosemont is about a 30-minute drive from me. So it wasn't super far, but either way, obviously you can't drive yourself, and you can't drive actually for a while afterwards. And I'll get into that in a second. But my mom and my sister drove me, and honestly it was a super fast procedure. So I went in at 8, and they kind of prepare you, you know, they put you in your gown and everything. So when they called my mom and my sister to let them know that I was about to go under, they decided to step out to go get some coffee or something, because obviously they didn't want to just be waiting there. So I guess from what they told me, is that as soon as they found a restaurant and sat down somewhere to eat, they had already got a call that I had already made it out of surgery, and they were just waiting for me to wake up. And yeah, so honestly, I left my house like, I want to say like 7:30, and I was back home in my bed by like 12:30. So I was only gone for a handful of hours. And I did so from what I remember going into the surgery, I do remember being in the room waiting for me to get called in. And it was a Saturday morning. I was so tired more than anything, because I think I couldn't really sleep from the nerves. So I was just so tired, and I think my tiredness was overcoming my nerves and my anxiety and my excitement even. So I remember going into the surgery room, and they like lay down. I remember the guy that was gonna put me under came in, and I was like laying there, and he was just like asking me a few questions, and then he was like, okay, ready? We're gonna count down. And he started counting down, and I don't remember shit. I just woke up, and I remember waking up, but I couldn't move. So I was just laying in the bed, and by this time I'm already in my recovery room, and the nurse is in the other corner, but she's facing away from me. So I'm just like, I have boobs. And I just broke down crying. I don't know why I was so emotional. I wasn't in pain. I was just really emotional. I don't know if it was all the medication or what. And I was just a crybaby. But then again, I cry for everything. You guys know this. So yeah, that was that. And they're like, you're awake. And I was like, yeah, but like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm starting to feel a little bit of pain. They're like, okay, yeah, the anesthesia is wearing off. And I came home, and in the car ride was completely fine. My mom and my sister are so cute. They were like freaking the fuck out, like driving 5 miles per hour on the highway. And yeah, I was fine though. I came home, and the only thing that was kind of a struggle was that obviously, like, I couldn't use my hands at all the first day or two. So I couldn't lift my arms at all. So when I had to get into the bed, I literally had a stepping stool like on my bed, because my bed wasn't even that high, but still, like, you can't like use your arms to like get on anything or get off anything. And it sucked because whenever I had to go pee or eat, I was literally being like spoon fed. My sister had to legit like wipe my cooch when I went to go pee and stuff. So sorry sis that I put you through that. If you ever need me, you know, I'm your gal. But yeah, my mom and my sister were so cute and supportive, and yeah, so it was nice. I was babied all week. If anything, pain wasn't terrible. So the first day, the pain really wasn't that bad. I think because I still had the anesthesia in my system or whatever stuff. And then the second day I was able to move my arms a little bit, so I was able to go to the bathroom by myself. Mind you, I was just like in like nightgowns and stuff, so I wouldn't have to unzip, unbutton anything. I looked like, plus you're on IV and stuff like that. So the next day, nothing would fit me, because even though I had these gorgeous, nice big boobs, I was swollen everywhere. I was so bloated. I looked like I was 6 months pregnant. I was freaking the fuck out. And I was like, okay, maybe I just got out of surgery, so I let it go. But no, that I looked like that for a good week or two. I had a major poo belly. Like, it was not cute. I looked like Winnie the Pooh. But anyways, so the first thing that everybody noticed when they came over, because my sisters came to visit me and stuff, and they were like, you went way too big, they're way too high. I'm like, relax, I just got them done. They're gonna settle in, they're gonna settle down. My doctor warned me too, like, you're gonna look crazy, you're gonna call me crying tomorrow. It's normal, it's so normal. And I was like, no, it's not gonna be that bad. Oh girl, it was bad. So yeah, that was the recovery the first day. The only thing that was a major like buzzkill was my sleep. I sleep face down. I always have. I probably always will. I know it's so bad, but that's just how I sleep. That's the only way I can sleep. So you have to be sitting the first few days at a 90-degree angle. So the entire time, it's not like I was laying down chilling. I was literally just at a 90-degree angle. When I wanted to go to sleep, I couldn't. And mind you, you're already uncomfortable because you are in a little bit of pain. Even if you aren't taking the painkillers, it isn't terrible because you don't really feel it, but you know your body's going through it. Because I remember waking up sometimes in the middle of the night and just feeling like so restless, and like my body would be shaking. And I think it's just because your body's still in shock. Like, it is a surgery, you know? So it sucked because I couldn't sleep. And so I had like all these pillows around me and stuff, and that was the only like really shitty part for me, to be honest, was I need my sleep. Like, if I don't get at least full 8 hours, I'm not me. I'm a me that you don't like, that I don't like. So for work, I did take 4 days off work. I got surgery done on Saturday, and I was back to work on Wednesday. And the only thing was that I couldn't drive myself to work, so I was taking Uber or getting rides. So, but my job was super easy. I was in an office all day. I was sitting all day, so it wasn't anything crazy. But I worked in an office, so it was super easy. But the only thing is that I stopped taking my hard pain pills, like my Percocet and stuff, early on. Like, I think I only took them for like 2 or 3 days. I just didn't really, they weren't it for me, and my pain wasn't that bad that I needed them. But one of the days I did take a Valium, because the thing is that since I did get them under the muscle, and it would be really cold outside in March, it's still really cold in Chicago. When I would go outside, oh my god, it was the most painful thing ever, because your muscles contract when you're cold. So imagine that when you were fresh out of surgery. It was the most painful thing. So I was like, maybe if I take a little bit of my Valium, it'll relax my muscles a little bit. I was fighting my sleep so bad at work, so yeah, not a good idea. But other than that, I think everything was really good. My recovery was overall well. Again, I drive a bigger car. I drive a Jeep, so it was a struggle to drive. I waited at least 2 weeks because I was really scared more than anything. But then after I started driving, I was fine. You can work out lightly, just no lifting for a while, and you can't lift your arms above your, like, you can't lift your arms for I think at least 2 weeks, and you can't lift anything over 5 pounds for 2 weeks. So I was working bottle servers already by then, but I did wait 2 full weeks to go back to work, and I was totally fine after that as well. Yeah, I think other than that, everything was fine, besides the fact that I was like super fucking bloated for weeks to come. It was so disgusting, guys. Like, and then I remember, I think the first big event that I went to after that, I went to the Banda de Mesa concert. Thank God I had this dress that like kind of covered, because girl, let me tell you, I was so fucking bloated. My boobs were up here. Like, I was crazy. I was out. I got my surgery done on March 11th, and I was out for St. Patty's Day in Wrigleyville and fucking bar crawls the very next Saturday. Why was I like this? So, oh my god, my sister was the cutest though. She was legit like my bodyguard as fuck. Like, she was like, move guys, like move the way, like clearing the way whenever I was coming through. I was like, that's right, sis. So if you ever want to go get them titties done, you know I'm your girl. So, but do not go out to the bar a week later. I mean, thankfully I was fine, but that was probably not the best idea. Then in regards to that, another part of recovery is that you do have to massage them, and I wasn't the best at them. I mean, not that I feel like my boobs aren't soft and nice now, but you do have to massage them, I think, starting a few days. And then so I went to you have to follow up like 2 days after, and then like a week after, and then 2 weeks, and they start spacing them out more. I went to my first follow-up and he said I was doing fabulous, I was healing great, my incision was doing great, that I had to start massaging my boobs. So that's something that you do have to do at nighttime and during the day, and you know, a few times a day, massage them out. And then he evolved me from the little bandeau to like a sports bra, and then a few weeks later into a push-up bra so that they wouldn't separate. So I did wear it. So that was kind of a bummer because it's like I already have big boobs and I don't want to have to be wearing a bra. But I did wear a push-up bra for a while, which made them look even bigger at first, but it was part of the healing process. Now I barely ever wear a bra, and if I do, it's like a sports bra or a little bralette, things like that. But yeah, overall I feel like my recovery was great. I don't think it was painful. I mean, it was a little uncomfortable, but mind you, I have a really high pain tolerance too, so this is different for everybody. But yeah, that was just my experience, and I am so happy with my results. Like I said, it was 2 years ago, about a few weeks ago. So it was 2 years, my 2-year boob anniversary, and I'm so happy with them. I did lose a little bit of nipple sensation, but that did come back. But my nipple sensation was already kind of fucked up because I did get my nipples pierced like a dumbass when I was a teenager. Not a teenager, okay? I want to say like 19 or 20. I did get my nipples pierced, so that kind of fucked me up in regards to the sensation. And yeah, that's that. But yeah, other than that, I feel like I covered all the bases. I try to make it as brief yet informative as possible, so I'm sorry if I missed anything. I'm going to get into the questions now, and if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to comment below or DM me or whatever. So one of the questions is, how often do you change them? So I've heard from people that you have to change out saline implants every 10 years. That's not what my doctor said at all. There's patients that have saline implants their entire lives. The only reason why sometimes it can be recommended is because, like I mentioned earlier, they can get ripples in them just by age and time and gravity. But that's why I went under the muscle, so I would have to avoid that. And if I ever do, I'm sure that gravity is going to take over before anything, because I did get them when I was, you know, I consider myself still kind of young. So if in the future I do want to lift or anything like that, you know, I'll switch them out then. But other than that, it's not necessary, it's not required, but that's just what I was told. Pain during and after, was it worth it? Pain, like I mentioned, it wasn't super painful. I did have my moments where I would just get really emotional, but I think it was just from me being a crybaby and the medicine I was on. I would get very emotional and like cry and stuff, but I don't remember the pain being excruciating. I do remember being a little bit uncomfortable, but nothing. One thing that I will mention is that you do get these like ghost pains, I think they're called, or something like that. But since I did go under the muscle, there is some nerve damage, I'm assuming. But you do get these like shocks out of nowhere, like these shocking pains, and it's literally like, ow, out of nowhere. And that went on for over a year. But I googled it, it's totally normal. I talked to my doctor about it, it's really normal. But it is just like such a weird sensation. Like, thank God those pains are gone, but don't be shocked if it does happen, because it can be shocking at first, and it's so painful. Like, not so painful to the point that you're like crying, but it is enough to like throw you the fuck off, because they just come out of nowhere, like shocks almost. So that is one thing that does come after. Other than that, pain during recovery isn't as bad because of, you know, the medication that you're on. And was it worth it? Absolutely. I love my boobs and I'm so content with my results. And not only did my boobs give me boobs, but I feel like it shaped my body overall really great. I give me more of a better silhouette. I'm really content with my results. I do definitely think it was worth it. Do you regret it? Not at all. I don't regret any aspect of it. I don't wish I would have gone bigger or smaller or you know, lower or nothing. I'm really content with my decisions. How do they feel? Like boobs. To me, they feel like boobs. But my breast, since I did go under the muscle, I do have breast tissue and breast muscle over them that covers my implant. So unless you like really go in there and dig for it, you can't really tell. Before I get surgery, what should I know? What would you have liked to know? Everything else I think was pretty well explained to me, except for the bloating part. And you can't wear a waist trainer or anything because obviously you still have open incisions right there. So that's the one thing that I wish I would have been warned more so about. So if you have like a big event or anything like that, give yourself time to heal, give your body time to heal, because that was the one thing that you do get really bloated. You do get super like big. And it lasts a while. I think a lot of the questions that I was looking at right now are stuff I already answered. Oh, lastly, my size now I am a 34D, so I have to go biddies for my size, but it's only because I am still 34, so my waist and stuff is still pretty small. It's just my boobs. Before this I was a 34B, so I went up about 2 cup sizes, I want to say. But I will show you guys before and afters. And yeah, if there's anything that I missed, anything else that you guys would like to know, please comment below and stay tuned for the next one. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys soon.